Hello guys, welcome back to another tutorial with Loyal Fire Tuts. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to mix an 808 kick. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe because I do videos weekly. Now as you know, 808s are very popular these days, but they can be a bit tricky to mix, especially when they're quite low, because you want that bottom end that sounds really powerful and sounds big in the club, but you also want to be able to hear it on laptop speakers and mobile phones and things like that. And if they're too high, they just sound flimsy, they don't sound powerful enough. So what we can do is, with this kick in this track, it's quite low. I've got it on F. If I go any lower, it'll start to get a bit muddy. So I'll just show you what the kick sounds like. I'll just take the processing off, what we're going to do to it, just so I can show you just the plain 808. Okay, and it gets even lower in this part. Okay, now it sounds okay. It's got quite a lot of bottom end and roundness to it, and I've got my headphones on at the moment, and these headphones are really good at producing low frequencies. But if I listen to this on my laptop speakers or my phone, then it probably wouldn't cut through. I probably wouldn't hear the bass at all. So what we need to do is we need to bring out them higher harmonics so that we can hear it more. And what we can do as well is create the illusion that it's louder than it actually is by adding some higher harmonics and driving it a bit more and things like that. So I'll just add one thing at a time so you can hear what I'm doing to it. First of all, what I'm doing is I'm taking off the very bottom end and rolling off like 25 hertz down. You won't really hear the difference in that, but on a really big system below 20 hertz you won't be able to hear it, but it'll just be muddy and just be it'll just add rumble that you don't really want, and it'll make the mix sound unclean. So we're just adding a bit of that off, and then what we're doing is taking a bit off at 73 hertz and taking some off at 118 hertz. Now these frequencies will be different for the different tuning, you know, the different, if you got it on a different note then the frequencies might be different. So apparently different's my favourite word today, and I'll just show you what it sounds like with these exaggerated so you can hear what I'm taking out. So I'm just taking some of the resonance of the muddy areas off. I'll just show you, this one sounds like. It doesn't sound too bad, but it just sounds a bit resonant to me, so I want to take some of it off, and it will help make the kick sound a bit rounder as well, sound a bit bigger, so less boxy. And the other frequency sounds like this. Oops. So I'm taking some of that off as well. Where is it? No? Oh yeah. So that's just helping to clean it up just a little bit. Now the next thing I'm doing is adding a harmonic exciter, using the isotope ozone one for this. Now there is one in Logic called the exciter. You can find it in Specialized. It's not quite as advanced as the isotope one, but you could still probably get some good results out of it. So just have a try with that one, but I never really use it. With this one you can add different kind of harmonics, but with this dual triode it's a really thick harmonic sound. So I'll just show you without and then with. Now that sounds a little bit extreme, but once we've got it in the mix you won't really hear that too much. It won't sound that extreme, it will just bring the kick out a little bit more. I'll just show you what I mean. The kick just come out a little bit more, you can hear a bit more excitement from the top end of it. And the next thing after that is we're adding the R bass. Maybe the exciter is more like this one than the ozone one, because with this one we can choose the frequencies where we want to add the harmonics. I'm bringing out 174 because that's the frequency of F. Now all these things I'm doing to this kick, you don't need to do them all. You could just do one or some of them, or just none at all if you don't want. These are just some of the things I like to use. Sometimes I might use them all, sometimes I might just use one. It all depends on the track and the kick and what you're going for, so pick and choose as you will. So I'll just show you without this and then with. I'm using a bit of volume on that, but I think when I had it up here it was clipping. It's just bringing out some more of that tone around 174 Hz. If I take the ozone exciter off, you'll be able to hear it more. But that, you know, again, that can sound a bit resonant, so we don't want to add too much of that. About that much I'll do. These are just all things that I'm doing just to bring it out of the mix a bit more, just to make it a bit more audible and make it sound louder and more powerful. And the last thing I'm doing is limiting it slightly. Now again, this is just down to choice and it depends on the track. If you're limiting the whole drums together or compressing them and doing that on the master buzz as well, maybe you might not want to do this. But the reason I'm using it is just to bring out some more of the tail so that it doesn't go dum dum, so it goes dum dum. So that's what I'm using this for, and I'm just crushing it a little bit just to make it sound a bit more powerful as well. But I'll just show you what it sounds like if we do, well, I'll show you what it sounds like as I've got it at the moment. To me it just sounds a bit more powerful, and again it brings out that tail. I'm not sending my bottom end to my drum bus, I'm sending it straight to my stereo out. I'm sending the rest of my drums to the drum bus and I'm compressing them slightly, but I'm letting the bottom end go to the stereo bus and letting that deal with it, just so it sounds bigger. Because if we put it with the rest of the drums, then it'll sound a bit more, it'll sound smaller, it'll sound more controlled, but I don't want it to sound small, I want it to sound big, so we're just sending it straight to the stereo out. So that's why I can do a bit more limiting on the actual bass. I'll just show you what it sounds like if we do too much of it though. We'll start to lose power, as you'll hear. So you can just hear we're losing a bit of energy. I'm just gonna bring it down. So as you can hear, the things that I'm adding are quite over the top, but what I'm doing is I'm adding it and then I'm backing off. So I'm just adding a little bit of a touch of everything just to colour the kick a bit more and just help it fit in the mix a bit more. See, with this I might bring that down a bit just so we've just got a little bit of it. With this I might back that off a little bit, and I might just, you know, as I'm making the track and as I'm mixing the track, changing them as I'm going. Or I might come back to it with fresh ears and think, whoa, why did I do that? That's too much, or I need more of that. So it's always good to come back with fresh ears after you've done things like this, you know, and then you can make a better decision. It's about adding lots of small things to make up the bigger picture, especially with this distortion that I'm adding here. If I have too much of it, it it just sounds way over the top. But if I have none of it, it sounds like that. But if I add a tiny little touch, bit more, so there we go. It sounds a bit distorted and a bit messy when you hear it on its own, but in the mix it'll just add that tiny bit of distortion just so it sounds a bit louder than it actually is. So I'll just show you without all these things on. So if I had to say one thing bad about the processing that we've done to it, it would be that it's slightly less round than the original, and that's kind of the sacrifice that we have to make. It's like the balance we have to get between the two. If we have it nice and round, then we might not be able to hear it on the laptop speakers, and it might not sound as loud, but it might sound nicer on the very bottom end. But if we add a bit of harmonic distortion, limit it a little bit, then it does sound more powerful, and you can hear it on laptop speakers and things like that. So I hope you found some of the techniques I've showed in this tutorial useful. If you have, please give us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.